Well, what do we have here? The new 2025 Maverick R just got announced at the BRP dealer, and they didn't talk about it that much, but we're going to talk about it today. I know in a few days there's going to be more details dropping on this machine, but we do have a bunch of the basics, as well as it's live on the BRP or Can-Am off-road website. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to show you guys some of the changes, besides the fact that it's 2 more seats, as well as there's some other stuff going on that makes you wonder. Don't know, but makes you wonder. Let's get into it. And here we go. Here's the new Maverick R 2025, but in a 4-seat configuration. And long awaited. We haven't seen this all last year. The 2-seat was out. I have one. I've had one for, what, going on 8 months now. There was no 4-seat. It was a no-show. It wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready. She wasn't ready.
I guess either there's too many X3s in the wild at the dealers, and we're going to go over the stuff here on the online configurator. There's no 3D view to it, but we can at least see a lot of the pictures, the colors, and then talk about some of the specifications of this new Maverick R. The 2-seat, by the way, we'll get that out of the way real quick. There are changes to the 2-seat, mainly just in colors. So the same colors you see right now for the 4-seat are the same colors you'll see on the 2-seat. Alright, so this is the top of the line trim, the Maverick R Max XRS with Smart Shocks, starting at $47,800. And that's pretty much like $3,500 more than the 2-seat version, which makes some sense. But yeah, they're getting up there in price. Like I've said in the past, if you guys wait a few months after launch, you can get a better price. Supply and demand, when they're first out on the floors, the people who want them first pay a pretty penny.
I am once again asking for your financial support.
We got the yellow and black as well, besides this navy color, and that's this guy right here. A little different than the 2024 color. We now have mainly black on the sides, including the fenders. We don't have any yellow on the suspension. And then, of course, the tried and true, basically probably the hottest and always most selling vehicle is going to be the all black. I believe they call it all black, triple black. One thing you're going to notice right off the bat is all the 2025s, including the 2-seat, now come with black knuckles, front and back, the tall knuckles. And the upper A-arms are now black. And this thing looks, to me, just way better. All black. You don't have to do anything. Buy it, drive it. It should be a great machine for you guys. Unless you're pushing it to those crazy limits, the suspension has proven itself to be really good. You'll see guys all over Facebook saying that I bent an arm, but it was my fault, not the machine's fault. You see that a lot. With that said, always go over your machines when you first buy one. I always go over the bolts. XRS Smart Shocks, this has the 16-inch rims and tires, still on 32s. There was a leaked photo of a red and white one that we shared recently. That one appeared to have 35s. Not sure if this is going to be a future model. They postponed that one, and also had a different colorway. So that was a white with red, kind of like the colorway that you would see on an X3. That one had what appeared to be 35-inch tires, and then of course it also had skids on the trailing arms and A-arms. Well, you couldn't see the A-arms, but we're assuming that because the trailing arms had the skids, just like the XRC model. So definitely no XRC model for this year. We'll probably see it for 2026. It does look really good. I love the looks. It is a long machine.
How long is not long?
We'll get to the details on that in just a second. Let's look at some different views. So we're gonna go ahead and go into the build and price. We're not gonna go into the accessories. Some of the accessories they offer are pretty cool, but I kind of like to, do aftermarket parts. I'm not gonna do an audio roof that becomes a paperweight when you buy an aftermarket cage. This is pretty much the 3D model, but not 360. Here we have the yellow and black, and they call it carbon black with neo yellow. We have the dusty navy and Legion red. I like that. And then the triple black, which is probably going to be everybody's favorite. Here we got the side profile. Basically looks like the current 2024 2-seat Maverick R. They do keep the exterior door handle. They moved it right here. Perfect spot. I think it's really nice that they offered the exterior door handle, especially when you got family members that are just trying to figure out how to get in that machine. We've all experienced it. You take your uncle or your brother or whatever, and they've never been in one. They're searching for that freaking door handle, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So this is really cool that they offer that. The doors don't appear to be as long as the front doors, which on an X3, they're not as long as the front doors either, but they're not that much different as far as like the length of them. This one appears to be a lot shorter, and you can tell the length from where this body panel ends to, or when this body panel starts right here in the middle, to the front, and then, you know, compared to the front door, it's a lot different. So I'm thinking that, you know, they did that to not make the machine even longer. If you guys have seen the Maverick R, the rear powertrain, because the way the engine is laid out, that stretched out a lot, and that's where I think a lot of the length is coming from compared to the X3. We'll yet to be seen. We'll see how the leg room is on this new Maverick R 4-seat, but overall, it does look pretty long. I can't lie.
I want the truth!
It does look proportioned. Like the doors kind of, you know, with this panel here, it kind of does look proportioned. Even the openings, you know, this doesn't look as big as it does on an X3 compared to front to back. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a picture, but it is a long machine. We'll get to the specs right now. Here's another photo view from kind of the rear angle. Very similar, of course. Not a lot of changes. It's really just a 4-seat version. And here we can see the front end, basically identical. I did want to point out this here. This is something different that we didn't notice on the 2-seat, at least not on my machine. This appears to be some strength added to the A-arms. And I actually bent both my A-arms slightly. My lower A-arms, they're tweaked because this portion is really skinny and there seems to be a lot of leverage on this. We've even heard of aftermarket companies making the arms and also having issues with this point. And if you next time you look at a Maverick R, this point is really thin. So the arms are definitely beefed up there, and I'm gonna assume they're also gonna be beefed up in the lower rear mounting area, because that's where they were failing on the 2-seat. On early models, there was a revised version right away for the 2-seat models like a month later. But this, I bet, is even more reinforced, being it is going to be a heavier 4-seat machine. We're talking about over 2,650 pounds dry weight. Like, these machines are not going to be light at all. Last photo is the cockpit. Looks identical to the current model. Besides this right here. What is that?
What the hell is that thing?
I don't know. Maybe that's the firewall. I'm tripping. Here's that neon yellow and the red with the navy. Looks like we got some navy in the interior panels here and up here, and then the seats have some red in there. So pretty cool color combos. Interior, like I said, basically the same as the previous 2-seat. Now here we have a breakdown of the pricing. If you guys are interested, we'll leave a link in description for you guys to check out the pricing. Basically, they start off at $39,199 for the base model, and then they move up depending on the shock package. Basically, the shock package that you get. So these two come with the QS3s, which have that 3 adjustment, right? You get that one for $39 or $42. The difference between these two models is going to be the screen is missing on the base model and the roof, versus this one does have the screen and the roof, but it has the lesser shocks when compared to the XRS. So the XRS is going to be the one that has the piggyback with bypass, 3.0s in the rear, 2.5s in the front. This is basically the most popular model when it comes to the top of the line performance, just without smart shocks. So some guys prefer without smart shocks. I personally can go either way. And then topping it off at $47,800 basically is the new 4-seat in smart shocks. Color combos are the same between these two models. These models here, though, there is a all red version, as you can see in this picture, and the base model only comes in that white with red, which I think looks good. Now, personally, if I were to get a machine like this today or tomorrow, it's kind of late, it would probably be the base model. If you think about it, starting at $39, it's a lot cheaper than the smart shocks at $48. Yes, it comes with the lesser shocks, but you're basically getting the same suspension. And when it comes to rims and tires, yes, it comes with smaller rims at 15-inch versus 16-inch, but a lot of you guys change the rims anyways, and a lot of us change the cage anyways. So the only thing you would be really missing from this machine to the higher models, which are these two right here, would literally be the screen and the better shocks. Now, if you guys are going out for an all-out desert build, like a machine that can handle Baja, go crazy and glamorous, then you can actually swap out these basic shocks for some Kings and put 3.0s in the front. As well as there's a lot of other companies making shocks that I've seen with 3-inch that go on the front of these machines, but you do have to swap out the upper A-arm. So this is more for like a build. If you're doing a whole out build, I would get the base model, definitely. And when it comes to the screen, yeah, you'll be missing it, but there's nothing to miss. It's not that great. I'm still waiting for some sort of Android Auto wireless update or Apple CarPlay update, because the stock BRP stuff is not my favorite. Alright, these are the specs that a lot of you guys want to know, because it's important for us to be able to fit it on our trailer, our toy hauler, the truck towing capacity. We need to know how much this thing weighs. So here we go. The 2025 Maverick R has the same 240 horsepower, same 7-speed DCT, but not the same because it has an updated lower gear, basically. Apparently it's beefed up, and we're going to get to that in just a second. Same smart lock differential. The power steering's the same. Suspension's the same. That's all basically the same, with some improvements we hope to see. But I think we're going to see that in both the 2 and 4-seat model for the 2025. Anyways, dimensions go. It is long. And we got some specs here by the guys over at Side by Side Guys. They have a nice little list here on IG. 175 inches long from tip to tip. This is about 10 inches longer than the current X3, which is a lot. Almost a foot longer than the current X3. It's a big girl, for sure. And then we got a wheelbase of 142.5 inches, which is 7.5 inches more than the X3 Max. And then the wheelbase, which basically is the center of the hub to the center of the hub on the wheels. That's 142.5 inch wheelbase. That's 7.5 inches more than the X3 Max, which I think is a big deal. These things are getting really long. Like, we're talking about the length of sandrails. This thing is huge. But is it going to perform in the whoops? I'm going to bet yes, it's going to perform really good in the whoops. So ground clearance is the same, basically, as the Maverick R 2-seat. Same fuel tank, 13.2 gallons. Estimated dry weight is not the same. It's a lot heavier than the old X3 Max, and obviously going to be heavier than the 2-seat model. This thing, dry weight, weighs 2,660 pounds. Specifically, the Smart Shocks model. The other models have potential to weigh less. But 2,660 pounds. That is huge. That is so heavy. But hopefully it's worth it. Once you put fuel in it, that's dry weight. So once you put coolant, oil, diff fluid, trans fluid, the fuel, driver, passenger, 2 more passengers, you're over freaking 3,500 pounds probably. I mean, 4 passengers at 200 pounds each. That's 800 pounds, 34 plus fuel. You're at 3,500 pounds fully loaded with 4 people in this machine. God damn! 3,500 pounds is insane. I really hope these A-arms are stronger than the old ones, because they're gonna need to be. That is a lot of weight. Anyways, same travel as the Maverick 2-seat, 24 inches of travel front and rear, which is more than the X3. Shocks are pretty much the same, and then everything else is pretty much the same, besides some changes we're gonna go over right now. So we're gonna get into it. Go back to this picture. Where is it? Oh, we're on it. So one thing that you guys can see, and you can see it more here, is it now comes with mud flaps. See, I knew I was gonna find something with my magnifying glass that was different. I saw these as soon as they posted the pictures. I thought it was cool that they added mud flaps, kind of like the Razor Pro R has mud flaps from the factory. Why they didn't add them to the 2-seat on the 2025 model, I have no idea. I mean, it needs them for sure. I'm looking for some for my personal machine right now. So rock guards, mud flaps, whatever you want to call it, they're present here on the 4-seat. And we're going to stick to this picture, and we're going to focus on this area right here, because something's different. So a gentleman by the name of, I think his name was Troy Baker. If I don't have the name correct, I apologize. But we're going to post both pictures side by side. And alright guys, so this picture here, they are not the same picture. The one on the left is the 2-seat 2025 in the RS non-X model, which is basically the QS3 shocks. And on the right is the same model, but in the new 4-seat Max. And yes, the rock guards give it away as they are different. It also appears that we have 32-inch tires on the Max, whereas the 2-seat we still have the 30s. I'm not 100%, I'm just guessing here because you could tell a difference in the knuckle here as far as spacing goes. But what I want you to pay attention to, and this is again, some gentleman on Facebook pointed it out and I thought it was really interesting. Take it for a grain of salt because I don't know what it means or if we're just reaching for the stars here. But there was rumors of a different transmission for this machine, for the Max, and that's why they delayed it. Now, from Evolution Power Sports, we've heard that this transmission is kind of gonna start running into issues around the 400 horsepower mark. Now, yes, we have the same stock horsepower on the 4-seat, but we have a ton more weight. So it's important that this transmission is reliable, and I think Can-Am knows that. Obviously, they design these things to, operate and work like they're supposed to, and not break down every other freaking trip. They're supposed to work. They're supposed to be reliable. And I thought they were going to come out with a new transmission for this machine. There was a patent that Side by Side Guys had uncovered and showed off on an Instagram post of a transmission, DCT, 7-speed, but with a CVT belt. And I found this super extremely crazy that they would go back to a belt. But it makes sense when the machine weighs 2,600 pounds. Now, is that what we're looking at on the new Max? I don't think so. We still got a regular DCT transmission, but it is definitely, I'm thinking, bigger, beefier, or something changed. I have no idea. Again, take this for a grain of salt, but you can instantly see the differences in this 3D rendering from the 2-seat to the 4-seat. And I'm not just talking about this cover here. Obviously, this is missing, and this one has it. Yeah, that's not a big deal. We're not worried about that. I'm talking about the casings look different. The ribbing on the bolts here. I'm talking about a lot of stuff looks a little different to me. It looks a little suspect. And I don't know what it is. So, take that for a grain of salt. Like I said, this cover's missing. Why? I have no idea. What is going on? How much different is the new transmission? I don't know, guys. I'm just reaching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. That's all I got for you. 4-seat Maverick R Max. The new model is now coming to a store near you. And I'm excited, I guess. I mean, I'm happy with my 2-seat, but I'd definitely like to drive one. Can-Am.